sports
Nah,
perspective.
for what, dude? Come on.
Hey everyone, Milton here,
Hey, I'm Will.
and we're back with another episode of Heavy Thoughts.
Indeed. What are we thinking about this week, Milton?
Well, what we wanted to talk about was the idea of knowing your win condition.
Okay, right on. So, like, kill team win conditions, probably just kill my opponent, right?
Well,
No, obviously it's not that simple.
So right now, one of the things we've talked about a lot, and that I think you'll see if you look at a lot of competitive games or like streams from tournaments, is that a lot of the players that are doing best in competitive play are usually building their game plan around their tac op, and usually making that their primary op.
Yeah, the idea in this is that this is the part of your gameplay that you can have the most reliability in scoring points. That is not going to be reliant on your opponent playing the game a certain way or you winning initiative on certain turns. There are a lot of different tac ops that are viable right now.
Yeah, and some are more viable than others in different types of matchups.
Right.
Which is why when you're making those decisions on which tac op to take, it's really important to consider that ahead of time, to think about what you're playing into, and to build a game plan around that, since those, as we said, are the points you have the most control.
Absolutely. Yeah, like knowing how you're approaching basically all of the rock, paper, scissors matchups, the horde matchups, the elites, and the mid-range teams, having a good idea of hopefully what tac up you're allowed or you're going to be available to take to score 9 points on, and then how you are going to play both the crit op and the kill op in order to not lose the game there.
Yeah, and then and that's something that a lot of people, I'm sure, have considered, right? Everyone thinks about what tac ops are good in what scenarios, and everybody is thinking about that to a certain extent when they sit down at the table across from their opponent. But where I think you'll see a difference or a gap between the people that tend to perform better and the rest of the pack is where people take that tac op and their plan and they really build their whole game plan around it.
Right. They're in the entirety of 100% of their game plan. They're not also leaving back those resources to score the critical op points on their home objective and situations like that.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, something I'm very guilty of is I'll sacrifice pieces for points, only to lose the game on the tiebreaker kill off later on, right?
Yeah, and so like we said, if both players are approaching that, the game in terms of like, okay, I'm gonna like lock in my 9 points on my primary op and my tac op, then it comes down to who can deny the most points on the crit op or the tac op, and trying to not give up a bunch of points on the kill op. Which, real quick, I want to just make an aside. We joked before we started running the camera about how we should just do a video on why you should never take implant.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Don't.
Like, you may get your 9 points on your tac op, but how are you winning the kill op? Like, you're not going to stay even against an opponent.
Yeah, you're going to give up too much material throughout the course of the game, and they're going to win the game on the crit and the kill op. Like, yeah, you get your 9 points, and then you lose the game 11-17.
Yeah. So, bonus video for everybody. 2 subjects in one go. But
yeah.
But see, here's the thing: is that if you're taking implant, then that kind of cuts against the point of the kill op, right? You don't have a cohesive game plan where
Right.
all of your avenues of scoring are building towards the same goal. So that's why, like, oftentimes, as an example, I play Blades of Cain a lot, as I'm sure the handful of people watching this know. But in a lot of the elites matchups, I usually take confirm kill, or sometimes even overrun.
Right.
And that's because I'm here to kill him, and I want to score points when I kill him on the kill op, and I also want to score points when I kill him on the tac op.
Yes, I mean, the idea is that they have such inevitability in the matchup that you are forced into being so proactive about killing that you don't have enough action points left over to be planting beacons or doing anything else, that the one avenue leads into the other one very well, and now you have a strategy that is building towards an entire game plan.
Yeah, whereas if I mean, you can absolutely play plant beacons into elites and with the Blades of Cain, and it's good. But like Will was saying, if you're using a ton of your APL to do mission actions or crit op actions, and then you don't have enough to get the kills you need, you can just kind of buckle under pressure against certain teams like Legionaries.
Yeah, as the game gets later and the board shrinks down because of the access to the different points of the board, there's less and less places your squishy models can hide, and they're eventually going to catch up on the kill later on. In turn 3 and turn 4, all of a sudden it's going to just, the rug's out from under you.
Yeah. Now, I also have an example of a game where somebody didn't have a good game plan, if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I played a game last weekend on Into the Dark against Legionaries, and the mission was Extraction, which, look it up in your TAC op deck, it's a weird one.
It's a good one.
I hate it. So, I don't want to get too into like model mechanics, but Legionaries have some ways to make it harder for you to take points from them. And on Extraction, if the Legionaries are the ones to search all 3 markers and then pick one up and run away with it, they can very easily get 6 points on the crit op, and you can get 0, which is exactly what happened.
Right, non-interactive game.
So I get 0 on the crit op, my opponent gets 6, and there's nothing I can do about that. So I looked at the board, and I was like, okay, well, the only way I can possibly win this game at this point is if I murder all of his models except for the one guy who's running away with a point, and deny him from getting anything on his TAC op.
Yeah.
Which I was able to do because I'm an enormous luck sack. But if my opponent had a slightly more cohesive game plan, knowing that he's going to try and steal all of the crit op points from under me, if he took a TAC op that's harder for me to deny, where he can get 1 or 2, all he needs is 1 or 2 in order to put the game entirely out of reach for him.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about a cohesive game plan,
what did he take as his TAC op?
Secure.
He took
take ground. Sorry,
Oh,
it was
okay.
take ground on ITD, and because I
just
had to
taken
play
contain.
super aggressively with APL3 guys, I was able to be on doors and shut him out on that.
Yeah.
But it was something that didn't coincide with his game plan of really prioritizing that crit op,
Right.
and cause him to lose the game.
So one thing I will say, we're talking a lot about TAC op as being very important. There are some teams and some matchups that you will struggle to score these 9 primary to TAC op points. It's important to know when that's coming. It's important to develop a game plan that revolves around a different plan. If you do not actually have a TAC op that you can reliably score more than 4 points on, that is probably a good idea to see if you can probably primary the crit op in this matchup, because kill is so variable on your opponent's play patterns.
Yeah.
As a Felgor Ravagers player, there are some matchups where I can reliably score 4 points for plant beacons or confirm kill, but it's very unlikely that the utilization of those action points is going to be better served to do more TAC ops than it is to simply get in there and kill them so that they don't kill me. And ultimately, again, it's just certain times your victory conditions are going to be different than the perceived norms. It's important to know that before the game starts and to develop your cohesive strategy around that.
Yeah, and this is something also that kind of ties in with what we talked about in our video, Who's the Beatdown. Your win condition may change throughout the game.
It very well might. We're playing games with high randomness.
Absolutely. And you may end up in a position where like your opponent's taking contain and you end up having to just book models down to their end zone and sit there behind cover.
Yeah,
Things can get weird in kill teams. So it's important to try and reassess this as you're continuing to play a game. That's why it's know your win condition, not figure out your win condition at the start and coast. Like, this is something you got to keep thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it can change, and as you score points and your opponent scores points, you know, you may be in a position where you just need to, like, you've got a lead and you just need to deny them points, and that's what matters.
Well,
or you may need to throw all of your models to stand on a point, and who cares if they kill some of them?
Yeah.
It's a very broad topic, but you got to be thinking about it, because that's how you make those crucial decisions that result in winning those tight games in the third or fourth turning point.
Yeah, I mean, most kill team games really 1 or 2 points at a highly competitive level. So understanding where you're going to make those points and deny those points is going to be very critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I really don't have a whole lot.
Yeah, a little more scattered than some of the ones we've done in the past. It's such a broad topic.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you take anything away from this, I think it really is to prioritize your attack op, have a good plan for it, think about how you can deny as many points as possible to your opponent throughout the course of the game, and then continue to reassess your win condition. Know what your win condition is, because if you don't know what your win condition is, how can you make the right decisions to play towards it?
Well said. Truly.
Anyways, I've been Milton.
I am always Will.
And thank you very much for joining us on another episode here. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe for some more adequate kill team tactics. And
yeah, we'll see you in the next
see you
video.
again soon.